Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here and welcome to my Big Finish collection video. This is one I've been trying to prep for a long time, but as you can see from this footage going down the shelves, I have managed to accumulate a lot of Big Finish releases over the past few years. But I thought, being a Doctor Who channel here, one thing Doctor Who channels like to do is collection videos. You've already seen one of my DVD and Blu-ray collection for Doctor Who, also one of my figures and stuff like that. So why not one for Big Finish? So I've got all sorts, the monthly range, various box sets for different Doctors, ton of spin-offs, all that sort of stuff spread across several shelves here in my little Doctor Who corner of this room. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through all of my Big Finish collection here today, and hopefully you'll enjoy what you see. So the monthly range was basically what got Big Finish started with its Doctor Who releases and remained its bread and butter for several years, like over 20 years. So we're kicking off with release number 1, The Sirens of Time. We've got Phantasmagoria, Whispers of Terror, The Land of the Dead, The Fearmonger, The Marian Conspiracy, which introduced Evelyn as the 6th Doctor's companion. They're a great team as well. The Genocide Machine, which was the first release for Big Finish to feature the Daleks, and also is the start of the what is loosely termed as the Dalek Empire quadrilogy in the main range. We have Red Dawn, The Spectre of Lanyon Moor, which sees the 6th Doctor finally meet up with the Brigadier, although he did do that in Dimensions in Time, which of course is canon. Winter for the Adept, The Apocalypse Element, which is part 2 of the Dalek Empire quadrilogy, The Fires of Vulcan, The Shadow of the Scourge, which dips into the Virgin New Adventures style of storytelling with Beneath Summerfield as well. The Holy Terror, considered to be one of the very best Doctor Who Big Finish releases, and it's a cracking story as well. The Mutant Phase, which is part 3 of the Dalek Empire quadrilogy. Then the 8th Doctor finally joins the range in 2001 with release number 16, which is Storm Warning, which introduces Charlie Pollard as his companion. Again, they're a great team, and it's a great introductory story for Paul McGann to Big Finish. Then we have Sword of Orion, The Stones of Venice, and Minuet in Hell sort of finishes off the first quote-unquote season for the 8th Doctor, which sees him meet the Brigadier. A very interesting, bizarre story, but I'd still say worth a listen, absolutely. Loup-Garou, Dust Breeding, Bloodtide, Project Twilight, The Eye of the Scorpion, Colditz, which is one of the darker stories, I'd say, also features a much younger David Tennant, so absolutely recommend listening to this. It also introduces the character of Klein, which you'll see pop up, and Klein is one of the more interesting Big Finish characters. Really love Klein and her performance, so yeah, check out Colditz. You have Primeval, The One Doctor, Invaders from Mars, The Chimes of Midnight, again considered to be one of the very best, and it is a great story. Seasons of Fear, Embrace the Darkness, The Time of the Daleks, which is the part 4 of the loose Dalek Empire quadrilogy there. Neverland, Spare Parts, again like Chimes and the Holy Terror, considered to be one of the very best of 5th Doctor, and it's a story featuring the Cybermen. Ish, The Rapture, which is one of my personal favourites because it basically sees the 7th Doctor and Ace in like a Ibiza-style, setting with lots of trance and dance music, so that's a big win from me. The Sandman, The Church and the Crown, Bang Bang a Boom, which is Doctor Who does Eurovision, and it's glorious. Jubilee, again, considered to be one of the very best, and the loose inspiration for Dalek from Series 1 of the Revival era. Necromantia, The Dark Flame, Doctor Who and the Pirates. If you want to hear Colin Baker sing as the Doctor, then you need to listen to this. Creatures of Beauty, Project Lazarus, Flip Flop, a very interesting release. Does it quite work? I'll let you be the judge when you listen to it. Omega, Davros, which is excellent, and Master, which is also excellent, a loose little villain trilogy there. And then Zagreus, which is the 50th release, features all 4 Doctors in some capacity, and boy is it an epic. There is quite a lot to listen to, or at least a few bits and pieces to listen to before you get to Zagreus, so maybe do your research before you check out that one. Don't go into it first. The Wormery, Scherzo, which is like the start of the Divergent arc, as people call it, and again, really excellent story, great for audio. This arc continues with the Creed of the Crowman, The Natural History of Fear, The Twilight Kingdom, then you have The Axis of Insanity, Arrangements for War, The Harvest, which introduces Hex with the 7th Doctor, and again, another fantastic Big Finish created character. The Roof of the World, Medicinal Purposes, Faith Stealer, The Last, Kea Droya, The Next Life, which features Don Warrington in this, and I just love Don Warrington as an actor, so again, sort of rounds off or begins to round off the Divergent arc. The Juggernauts, The Game, Dreamtime, Catch 1782, Three's a Crowd, Unregenerate, The Council of Nicaea, Terra Firma, Thicker Than Water, Live 34, an excellent concept story with the 7th Doctor, Ace and Hex, Scaredy Cat, Singularity, Other Lives, Peer Pressure, Night Thoughts, Time Works, The Kingmaker, The Settling, Something Inside, The Nowhere Place, Red, The Reaping, The Gathering, Memory Lane, No Man's Land, Year of the Pig, Circular Time, Nocturne, Renaissance of the Daleks, which you can see the format for the covers has changed and will remain like this for some time, ID, Exotron, Valhalla, The Wishing Beast, Frozen Time, Son of the Dragon, and 100, which you might have guessed is release number 100. Great little package here. Absolution, The Mind's Eye, The Girl Who Never Was, The Bride of Peladon, The Condemned, The Dark Husband, The Haunting of Thomas Brewster, Assassins in the Limelight, The Death Collectors, The Boy That Time Forgot, The Doomwood Curse, Kingdom of Silver, Time Reef, Brotherhood of the Daleks. You have 45, which was timed with the 45th anniversary of the Doctor Who franchise as a whole, The Raincloud Man, The Judgment of Ishkar, which kicks off the Key 2 time series, The Destroyer of Delights, The Chaos Pool, The Magic Mousetrap, Enemy of the Daleks, The Angel of Skutari, The Company of Friends, Patient Zero, Paper Cuts, Blue Forgotten Planet, Castle of Fear, The Eternal Summer, Plague of the Daleks, 1,000 Tiny Wings, which kicks off a Klein trilogy, if you like, Survival of the Fittest, The Architects of History, City of Spires, The Wreck of the Titan, Legend of the Cybermen, Cobwebs, The Whispering Forest, The Cradle of the Snake, Project Destiny, A Death in the Family, really excellent story, Lurkers at Sunlight's Edge, The Demons of Red Lodge, The Crimes of Thomas Brewster, The Feast of Axos, Industrial Evolution, Heroes of Sontar, Kiss of Death, Rat Trap, Robophobia, Recorded Time, which is story number 150 in the monthly range, The Doomsday Quatrain, House of Blue Fire, The Silver Turk, The Witch from the Well, Army of Death, The Curse of Davros, The Fourth Wall, Wirranile, The Emerald Tiger, The Jupiter Conjunction, The Butcher of Brisbane, Protect and Survive, again a really excellent story, thoroughly recommend this one, Black and White, Gods and Monsters, The Burning Prince, The Acheron Pulse, The Shadow Heart, 1001 Nights, The Wrong Doctors, Spaceport Fear, The Seeds of War, Eldrad Must Die, The Lady of Mercia, Prisoners of Fate, Persuasion, again kicking off a new Klein trilogy, Starlight Robbery, Daleks Among Us, 1963, this again is another trilogy around the 50th anniversary of the show. So you have Fanfare for the Common Men with the 5th Doctor, The Space Race with the 6th, and the Assassination Games with the 7th, which reunites him with the Countermeasures team. Afterlife, Antidote to Oblivion, The Brood of Eris, Scavenger, Moonflesh, Tombship, Masquerade, Breaking Bubbles, Revenge of the Swarm, Mask of Tragedy, Signs and Wonders, The Widow's Assassin, Masters of Earth, The Rani Elite, Mistfall, Equilibrium, The Entropy Plague, The Defectors, Last of the Cybermen, The Secret History, which is release number 200. We Are the Daleks, which makes me laugh, but it's an excellent story. Check that one out. The Warehouse, Terror of the Sontarans, Crisscross, Planet of the Rani, Shield of the Jotun, You Are the Doctor, The Waters of Amsterdam, Aquitaine, The Peterloo Massacre, And You Will Obey Me, Vampire of the Mind, The Two Masters, A Life of Crime, Fiesta of the Damned, Maker of Demons, The Memory Bank, Order of the Daleks, Absolute Power, Quicksilver, The Starmen, The Contingency Club, Zoltis, Alien Heart / Dalek Soul, Vortex Ice / Cortex Fire, Shadow Planet / World Apart, The High Price of Parking, The Blood Furnace, The Silurian Candidate, Time in Office, The Behemoth, The Middle, Static, Kingdom of Lies, Ghost Walk, Serpent in the Silver Mask, The Heliax Rift, The Lure of the Nomad, Iron Bright, which sees again another new cover swap using the Jodie Whittaker era of the Doctor Who logo, Hour of the Cybermen, Red Planets, The Dispossessed, The Quantum Possibility Engine, Warlock's Cross, Muse of Fire, The Hunting Ground, Devil in the Mist, Black Thursday, The Chameleon Empire, The Monsters of Gokroth, which is a trilogy starring Mags from The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, The Moons of Vulpana, An Alien Werewolf in London, Memories of a Tyrant, Emissary of the Daleks, Harry Houdini's War, Tartarus, Interstitial/Feast of Fear, Warzone/Conversion, Blood on Santa's Claw, Dark Universe, The Psychic Circus, Subterfuge, Cry of the Vultress, Scorched Earth, The Lovecraft Invasion, Time Apart, Thin Time/Madquake, The Flying Dutchman/Displaced, Shadow of the Daleks 1, Shadow of the Daleks 2, Plight of the Pimpernel, The Grey Man of the Mountain, Colony of Fear, The Blazing Hour, and The End of the Beginning, release number 275, and the final release of the main range. That's right, it was wound down in March of 2021. But I mean, hey, 275 releases over an essential, 21, 22 year period. That is more than impressive. And in case you might be wondering, Adam, how much of this have you actually listened to? Well, I started collecting these on CD back in the summer of 2020, so it's almost been 3 years. And out of 275 stories, I've managed to listen to 138 of the main range. That is literally as halfway, or as close to halfway as you're going to get. So I'm halfway through the main range. Obviously, I touched on some of these as we went, giving my thoughts. I didn't want to touch on all of them because then we literally would be here forever. But there are some absolute quality stuff in here, like some of the best Doctor Who media ever, in my opinion. In terms of where you can listen to this, you might be interested to know the first 50 releases of the main range is available to listen to on Spotify. So everything from the Sirens of Time up until Zagreus, you can listen to for free on Spotify. So definitely go over there and check that out, because that's how I listened to a lot of these before I managed to get CD copies of them. Most of the main range now, I think, is out of print on CD, as in Big Finish themselves aren't making new CD copies of them all. I think it's releases number 1 to 200 are no longer in print on CD. So if you want them physically, you're going to have to go secondhand, which might get pricey depending on which ones you're going for. However, they are still available to download from Big Finish, and a lot of the early stuff now is available for as little as £3. When they go on sale, they can drop to as low as £1.50, so it really is worth your money. So you can either get them from Big Finish directly, listen to the first 50 on Spotify, or you can, if you want a CD copy, you'll be looking secondhand for most of them. But do check out Big Finish still, because some of them might still have their CD copies available for purchase. But now we must continue further down the shelf and move on to a new one. I'm going to take you through the mainline series of the different Doctors and also various spin-off box sets. So special releases as well. So we're going to kick things off actually with the Excelis trilogy. This was released in 2002, and all of them star Anthony Head across the series. So there's Excelis Dawns with the 5th Doctor, there's Excelis Rising with the 6th, and Excelis Decays with the 7th there. Then in the numbered specials, you have Real Time, which was also done as a BBC webcast back in the day. So there's an audio version of that. You have also Sharda, a remake with the 8th Doctor instead. You have Her Final Flight, Cryptobiosis, Return of the Daleks, Return to the Web Planet, Return of the Crotons, An Earthly Child, The 4 Doctors, The 5 Companions, Night of the Stormcrow, Trial of the Valeyard, which is actually a really cool story delving into the Valeyard more as a character, so highly recommend that one there. We also have the Maltese Penguin, which contains Frobisher, who's a really great character, big recommend there. And we have the toy, which I got free by subscribing to the Complete History series of books, although I think you can get it somehow, some way nowadays other than that. Then moving on to the Doctor's Adventures, so kicking off with the first, we have David Bradley as the First Doctor in the First Doctor Adventures Volume 1. We also then have Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, which is actually my favourite. The stories in here are great. We have Return to Skaro and Last of the Romanovs. Excellent stories. And just to mention as well, these casts are the Adventure in Space and Time cast, and they've done a phenomenal job this last decade. We have Volume 5 as well here with that same cast, another stellar box set there. Then we have Stephen Noonan as the First Doctor. So we have The Outlaws, that was the first box set there. And then the more recent one is The Demon Song. You can tell it's recent because it's got that new 60th anniversary logo. The second Doctor Adventures only has one box set release, which is Beyond War Games, which again is a very interesting set conceptually. I believe a second release is following sometime in 2023. The third Doctor Adventures, one of my all-time favourite ranges. The third Doctor's era on TV is a proper comfort for me, and these are just the same. So you have Volume 1 here, Volume 2. Bear in mind all these star Tim Treloar as the third Doctor, and he does a phenomenal job. Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5. Primord's a great story, by the way. Volume 6, Volume 7, which the first story, the Unzal Incursion, is a proper, like, Season 7 throwback, and I just love it. Really recommend that one. And Volume 8 as well. Then they do continue. They drop the main numbering, but we have the Annihilators, which was a phenomenal 7-part story. Again, sort of throwing it back to that Season 7 vibe. You have the second Doctor in it as well with Jamie. It's brilliant. Lovely, lovely story there. And we had Kaleidoscope as well, which again is a really cool 6-part adventure there, Season 11 vibes. But the third Doctor Adventures just never really misses for me. So if they can keep the quality of this up, I'm all for what they've got next. On what we got next, we had the return of Jo Jones, which, as I'm recording this video, is currently in transit to me on CD, but that was a fun box set as well. Okay, so Season 1 of the fourth Doctor Adventures, we've got Destination Nerva, The Renaissance Man, The Wrath of the Insigne, Energy of the Daleks, Trial of the White Worm, and the Obsidian or Poseidon adventure. I can't remember. But yeah, that's a 2-part finale there. So 6 stories in Season 1. Season 2 is with the 4th Doctor and the first Romana, Mary Tam, before she passed away, bless her. So we have the Antimatter, The Sands of Life, which is a part 1 of a 2. Part 2 is War Against the Larn. Then we have the Justice of Jalxer, Phantoms of the Deep, and then another 2-parter. We have the Dalek Contract and the Final Phase. Season 3 is back to the 4th Doctor and Leela, and we start with the King of Sontar, White Ghosts, the Crooked Man, the Evil One, Last of the Colophon, Destroy the Infinite, the Abandoned, and Zygon Hunt. Season 4 is another 4th Doctor and Leela adventure with K9, of course. We have the Exilons, the Darkness of Glass, Requiem for the Rocketmen, that's part 1 of a 2-part story. Part 2 is Deathmatch, Suburban Hell, the Cloisters of Terror, and then another 2-part finale, The Fate of Krelos, and Return to Telos. Season 5 sees the 4th Doctor with the second Romana, as played by Lalla Ward, and K9 as well. We have Wave of Destruction, really cool opener. The Labyrinth of Buddha Castle, a 2-part story, so we have the Paradox Planet, and then Legacy of Death. Gallery of Ghouls, The Trouble with Drax, and then the 2-part finale, The Pursuit of History, and Casualties of Time. Season 6 is more like Season 18 4th Doctor, so we have the 4th Doctor, the second Romana, and K9 as well. So we have the Beast of Kravanos, the Eternal Battle, the Silent Scream, Deathras, the Haunting of Malkin Place, Subterranea, the Mavellan Grave, and the 2-part finale is the Skin of the Sleek, and the Thief Who Stole Time. Season 7 now, you can see they adopt a more box set style format as opposed to individual, CD releases. And then Volume 2 of that box set. Now, Season 8 and 9 of the 4th Doctor Adventures, I sadly don't have. I just haven't got around to grabbing them yet. Since they're still in print on CD from Big Finish to try and support them, I like to get them from the site. I'll probably wait till there's some sort of a sale on, so hopefully that'll happen soon. I do, however, have Season 10 here, which contains the World Traders, the Day of the Comet, and then the Tribulations of Thaddeus Nook, and the Primeval Design. Season 11, that was split into 2 sets as well. The first of them, Solo, and then the 9. Season 12, so again, the box set for this, or at least the first part of it, is on the way. That it was released in March 2023. Then we have the Philip Hinchcliffe Presents series. So this was stories penned by the former producer of the show itself. The next one is titled The Genesis Chamber, followed by The Helm of Ore, and then most recently, The God of Phantoms. Then to round off on the 4th Doctor, we have the comic strip adaptations, Volume 1. So I believe these were taken from the early editions of Doctor Who magazine, then Doctor Who Weekly, of course, containing Beat the Meep, everyone's favourite. It says Volume 1. I do wonder if they'll ever make a Volume 2. This was released quite a few years ago now, so we'll have to wait and see. So with the 5th Doctor, we have the rather interestingly titled The 5th Doctor box set, containing a Season 19 TARDIS team even, with Tegan, Nyssa and Adric. Then we have 40 to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 5th Doctor. This sort of strand was great. The first box set is here. The second box set, 42, this was undeniably my favourite Big Finish release of 2022. It's one story, The Auton Infinity, and I can't sum it up here. You need to get this box set. Probably get 40, the first one as well, but this story was just incredible, so massive props to the team for that one. Then we have The Lost Resort and Other Stories, which sort of rounds off the character of Mark. There are a few monthly range adventures I'd probably advise listening to just to get up to speed with Mark. I found I enjoyed it a lot more that way, but a really strong set nonetheless. Cracking on, we have Wicked Sisters, which has the 5th Doctor and Leela. Haven't checked this one out yet, haven't listened to it, so I'm curious to see how it is. There's some Tarans there as well. So with the 6th Doctor, we've got with these 2 releases, Voyage to Venus and Voyage to the New World, which sees him with Jago and Lightfoot, the ever faithful stalwarts there. Then we have the 6th Doctor and Perry, Volume 1. I do wonder if they'll ever do a Volume 2 to that. We have some more of the more recent releases, so we have Waterworlds with the 6th Doctor Mel and new companion Hebe. That was followed by Purity Undreamed, and the next release is coming out really soon, I believe. We also have the 11 featuring the great character played by Mark Bonnar. That is the 6th Doctor, and Constance, I think, go against him here. Then we have more Unbound stuff. So this is... I do put this with the 6th Doctor because it mainly concerns him, but you could put this with... I mean, it is technically part of the Unbound series. Maybe I'll have a rearrange, I don't know. But this is... So this is basically Doctor Who's What If, Doctor Who in alternate universe. So what if the 6th Doctor was the War Doctor? This is box set 1, Genesis, and then box set 2, Destiny, which has a really intriguing conclusion. Highly recommend listening to that. The 7th Doctor box set-wise, we have Silver and Ice, and we also have Sullivan and Cross AWOL. We also have the novel adaptations. So these were adaptations of some of the various Virgin adventures that came out during the 90s. So we have Love and War, which introduced Bernice Summerfield. We have The Highest Science, The Romance of Crime, The English Way of Death, The Well-Mannered War, Damaged Goods, which was written by Russell T Davies. Yes, that one. Theatre of War, All-Consuming Fire, Nightshade, and we round off with Original Sin and Cold Fusion. So 11 releases there. Will they ever adapt more novels? I mean, imagine an adaptation of Lungbarrow in audio form. Goodness me, the fandom would be alight. We also have the 7th Doctor New Adventures. I believe these characters feature in some of those Virgin New Adventures, but again, I'm still yet to sort of delve into that properly. Moving on then to the 8th Doctor, we have Charlotte Pollard, the Further Adventuress, so featuring the fan favourite companion with the 8th Doctor, obviously back from those early monthly range days. Then we move on to the series with Sheridan Smith as Lucy Miller. So these were released as standalone CDs. It started in 2007, and the first series, I believe, or maybe more of them, were played on BBC Radio 7 when that was a thing. So you have Blood of the Daleks Part 1 and Part 2, respectively. We have Horror of Glamrock, Immortal Beloved, Phobos, No More Lies, Human Resources Part 1, and Human Resources Part 2, which rounds off Series 1. In between Series 1 and 2, at least chronologically, is this, I believe, the Further Adventures of Lucy Miller, where Sheridan came back to do a few more stories with the 8th Doctor. Haven't got around to delving into that yet. Really looking forward to it. Okay, then moving on to Series 2 from 2008 with this team, we have Dead London, Max Warp, Brave New Town, The Skull of Sobek, Grand Theft Cosmos, The Zygon Who Fell to Earth, and then the 2-part finale is Sisters of the Flame and Vengeance of Morbius. That's right. Series 3 kicks off with Orbis, Hothouse, The Beast of Orlok, Wirren Dawn, The Scapegoat, The Cannibalists, and the 2-part finale is The 8 Truths and World Wide Web. Then Series 4, the conclusion to all of this, if you like. We have Death in Blackpool, Situation Vacant, Nevermore, The Book of Kells, Deimos, which is part 1 of a 2-part story, The Resurrection of Mars, Relative Dimensions, a beautiful sort of Christmas special, if you could call it that, Prisoner of the Sun, and then the 2-part finale, Lucy Miller, and To the Death. Following that then, the 8th Doctor went into box set mode, a big quadrilogy of concepts, if you like. So we start with Dark Eyes. This series, by the way, big recommend. Excellent set. Dark Eyes 2, Dark Eyes 3, and Series 4. And then, after those 4 box sets, so you had 16 individual stories there, if you like. And then we have Doom Coalition, which is the second story arc, but there's 4 more box sets. Doom Coalition 2, Doom Coalition 3, and Doom Coalition 4. Then you have Ravenous, which Ravenous 1, Ravenous 2, Ravenous 3, and Ravenous 4. This was concluded, this arc style, with Stranded, which takes place in the present day. So Stranded 1, Stranded 2, Stranded 3, and Stranded 4, which is probably my favourite of the Stranded series. And then recently, from last year, 2022, 8th Doctor Adventures-wise, we've had What Lies Inside as a box set, which was closely followed by Connections. So we've still got the TARDIS team of the 8th Doctor, Liv and Helen, which are a great combination. That's why they've probably stuck around for so long. And I can't wait to see what more 8th Doctor adventures we get later this year. We also have the Time War series, the 8th Doctor venturing into the Time War. So before he became the War Doctor, if you like. So Time War 1, Time War 2, Time War 3, and the Time War 4. Volume 5 is titled Cass, named after that character in Night of the Doctor, and a 6th release in the Time War series is supposedly on its way in the near future. And then before we cross into New Who Doctors, we have this Classic Doctors New Monsters Volume 1. That's exactly what it says on the tin, as you can see. That was also followed by Classic Doctors New Monsters Volume 2, and we got a release in 2022, a 3rd release in this series called The Stuff of Nightmares, and a 4th one is going to be due at some point in the near future too. Then we have the War Doctor, so originally played by John Hurt. But if we're going chronological, we've got to start with the War Doctor Begins, so the early days of this incarnation. And it's played brilliantly by the wonderful Jonathan Carley. It absolutely captures the essence of this character, so again, go and check his work out. So you have the first set, which is Forged in Fire. Then you have Warbringer, Battlegrounds, and He Who Fights with Monsters, which is an excellent conclusion to that first series. More on the way. Then you have the War Doctor, as played by John Hurt when he was still alive. He gave us 4 box sets. So we have Only the Monstrous, Infernal Devices, Agents of Chaos, and Casualties of War. And I've got to say, these box sets are tremendous. So if you ever get the chance, please go and listen to these 4 specifically. If you like the Time War concept, if you enjoyed the War Doctor, you'll like these sets. Then we go fully into New Who. We have the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, who at one point, the idea of him coming back to Doctor Who at all, I think would have, I think fans had given up, but this was incredible when it was announced. So we have the first series, which started in 2021. We have Ravagers, Respond to All Calls, Lost Warriors, and Old Friends, which sees 9 team up with the Brigadier to fight the Cybermen. Then series 2, we have Back to Earth, Into the Stars, Hidden Depths, and we finish with Shades of Fear. And look at that in the corner. That's me. Yes, this is the box set where I have a story featuring with the 9th Doctor, which is still pretty surreal. And there is a Series 3 of this range on the way. Moving on to some 10th Doctor stuff. So 10th Doctor chronological stuff is a bit all over the place. So we have the 10th Doctor and River Song. Then we have the Out of Time sub-series. So Out of Time 1 is the 10th and 4th Doctor. Out of Time 2 is the 10th and 5th Doctor. And Out of Time 3 is the 10th and 6th Doctor. Then we have Dalek Universe. This is the Dalek Protocol. Why this is here and not with the 4th Doctor stuff is this is mainly a 10th Doctor series, but this was sort of like a prelude to everything, so that's why it's here. Then we have Dalek Universe 1, Dalek Universe 2, and Dalek Universe 3. Really cool little sub-series this was, so yeah, big recommend to that. Then you have 10th Doctor Classic Companions, which again sees him meet Leela, Nyssa, and Ace, and these are lovely stories. Again, this was a proper comfort food box set for me, so really loved that. Then you have the Chronicles range, which I've put here, and I've done this because in terms of New Who Doctors, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and Jodie Whittaker, at the time of recording, have not yet done any big finish, so then you have this Chronicles range where other actors are filling in for them. So you have the 9th Doctor Chronicles there, then you have the 10th Doctor Chronicles, and there's a second one of these coming out sometime soon. You have the 11th Doctor Chronicles there with Jacob Dudman. There's Volume 2. We also have Geronimo, which basically is Volume 3 of the Companion Chronicles. Now we have with the 11th Doctor with a new companion, Valerie. And we have Volume 4, which continues that story, which is called All of Time and Space. And I believe there's 2 more box sets coming, hopefully featuring this duo, because they're a really fun TARDIS team. You have the 12th Doctor Chronicles as well. And there was a Volume 2, which is called Time Jacked. Then we have the War Master. This is definitely a contender for the best range Big Finish has ever done. Derek Jacobi is incredible, and the chance for him to flesh out a character he only played as the Master, not as Professor Yana, but as the Master for, a few minutes, has been so well expanded, and I've loved delving into this character and what he got up to during the Time War. So you have Volume 1, which is Only the Good. Volume 2, The Master of Callus. Volume 3, Rage of the Time Lords. Volume 4, Anti-Genesis. Volume 5, Hearts of Darkness, Volume 6, Killing Time, Volume 7, Self-Defense, and Volume 8, Escape from reality. Now, all of these box sets are brilliant and are well worth a listen. There are more coming. There's a few more coming, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Then we have the Gallifrey series. This is something I've very recently been able to acquire on CD, so I haven't listened to much of it just yet. So we have Series 1 of Gallifrey, we have Weapon of Choice, Square One, The Inquiry, and A Blind Eye. Series 2 is Lies, Spirit, Pandora, Insurgency, and Imperadrix. Series 3 is Fractures, Warfare, Appropriation, Mind Bomb, and Panacea. Then they moved on to a box set format, so Gallifrey Series 4, Series 5, and Series 6. This is essentially Series 7 in a standard CD case. This is Intervention Earth. The 8th release, which is Enemy Lines, at the time of recording this, it is on its way to me. It was recently in a Big Finish sale, so it won't be long, and I will have that to add to the collection. Then you get the Gallifrey Time War stuff, so this is Gallifrey Time War Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. Then the new strand of Gallifrey is this, Gallifrey War Room. So this is Volume 1, which is Allegiance, and the other 3 box sets are coming over the next year and a bit. And this was, again, a great sort of continuation of, like, Time War related stuff, the Gallifrey world, if you like. So yeah, big recommend to this. And a sort of side to the Time War is Susan's War, featuring Carol Ann Ford herself. And this is a really underrated box set, I think. I think a lot of you are sleeping on this, so you definitely should listen to Susan's War. Then you have the TV movie Masters, played by Eric Roberts. This is Master, and it's great. These are just a lot of fun. These are a bit goofy, but by God, they're enjoyable. We have Volume 2 of this as well, Nemesis Express, and I really do hope that there's more. Then we have Missy, of course, as played by Michelle Gomez. We have Series 1 of Missy, Series 2, and Series 3, which is titled Missy and the Monk, as played by Rufus Hound. Then we have Rose Tyler, of course, the famed companion with the Dimension Cannon. So this is the sort of many attempts Rose took to try and shoot herself back into our universe out of the parallel one she was stuck in. Volume 2 came out not too long ago. That's titled Other Worlds. And I believe there's a 3rd volume coming soon, which is called Trapped. Then you have Captain Jack with his series. You have The Lives of Captain Jack. This is Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. Then we have everyone's favourite journalist, Sarah Jane Smith, in her own series. This was quite early in Big Finish's history, really, but we have Series 1, which starts with Comeback, The Teo Connection, Test of Nerve, Ghost Town, and Mirror Signal Maneuver. Then we have Series 2, which kicks off with Buried Secrets, Snowblind, Fatal Consequences, and Dreamland. And it's such a shame that they didn't get to record more with Elizabeth Sladen before she passed, whether, you know, that be in her own series, or Sarah Jane Adventure stuff, or even with various Doctors. Then we have Rory Williams in the Lone Centurion. I was skeptical on this because the 11th Doctor's era, not one I click with the most, but these box sets are phenomenal. This is Volume 1 and then Volume 2, Camelot. And honestly, if they can, I want them to do more Rory stuff because these box sets are really genuinely very good. Then you have the Diary of River Song. River Song's been getting around on Big Finish. I mean, not only has she popped up in various ranges, but her own series, there's so many releases. So this is Series 1 here, then Series 2, Series 3, Series 4, Series 5, Series 6, Series 7, Series 8. Then they dropped the main numbering, but on the spines it still is. So this is Series 9, which is called New Recruits. This is basically River Song dropped into Doctor Who Season 7, and it is brilliant. So big recommend to that. Volume 10, which is called Two Rivers and a Firewall, and Volume 11, which is Friend of the Family. And I can't remember if a Volume 12 has been announced or is coming out, but I'm sure they will, because she's one of the most popular Doctor Who characters of the last 15 years. Then we have Unit. This is the original Unit series. This little release came out in, I think it was around 2005. So you have Time Heals, Snakehead, The Longest Night, and The Wasting. Then you have Unit Dominion, which is a really cracking story with obviously Unit, and then you have the 7th Doctor in there with his companion Rain. Klein's in this. There's Alex McQueen's Master. It's just a really good story, but if you don't want the CD, I do actually believe you can go on Spotify, and this is available for you to listen for free. Then with the new Unit, if you like, with like Kate Stewart, Osgood, etc. So this is Volume 1, Extinction, Volume 2, Shutdown, Volume 3, Silenced, Volume 4, Assembled, Volume 5, Encounters, Volume 6, Cyber Reality, Volume 7, Revisitations, and Volume 8, Incursions. Then continuing that in a new sort of series, you have Unit Nemesis. Volume 1 is Between Two Worlds. Volume 2 is Agents of the Vulprine. Volume 3 is Objective Earth. And Volume 4 will be coming out really soon. You have Unit Brave New World, which is set in the 90s with Brigadier Bambera. And this has been a sort of dark horse in a good way box set. I've loved this. So you have Volume 1, which is Seabird 1. And Volume 2, The Visitants. And I don't think there's any more planned, but I really want them to do more. It's a cracking little series. Moving on to Class, the spin-off from 2016. So you have Class Volume 1, Class Volume 2, Class Volume 3, and Class Volume 4. Then we had this at the start of the year, Class, Secret Diary of a Rhodian Prince, a very special release. There was only 1,000 of these made on CD, so I've got one of them. So at the time of this, there might not be any CDs left, but again, a really fun little story here. So yes, definitely recommend if you're a fan of Class. Then we have The Year of Martha Jones, starring Freema Agyeman herself. Again, really nice sort of look into that year of when Martha was on the run trying to spread the word of the Doctor, and maybe they couldn't do any more of this particular idea, but I'd love to see Freema return either with a Doctor or in her own series, like as part of Unit or something like that. Then we have The New Adventures of Bernice Summerfield. So Benny's a character I love. A lot of the original adventures I didn't necessarily click with, but the New Adventures, this box set, Volume 1, I really enjoyed. So I have actually ordered Volume 2 and 4 in a CD sale that happened on Big Finish. As for the others, I'll have to get them as and when. But yeah, really enjoy this stuff. We have Doctor Who Peladon set on that very world. And again, if you're into like The Curse of Peladon, if that's one of your favourites, then you can definitely check this out. Donna Noble Kidnapped. That's right, Catherine Tate in her own little box set. Tales from New Earth. Jenny the Doctor's Daughter. And she got a Volume 2 called Still Running. Lady Christina from Planet of the Dead, this is Series 1. And Lady Christina Series 2. You have The Churchill Years, starring Ian McNeice as Churchill himself. That got a Volume 2 release as well. And you have The Paternoster Gang, featuring Strax, Jenny, and Madame Vastra. So this is the Heritage series, so you have Heritage 1, Heritage 2, Heritage 3, and Heritage 4. Then you have the 8th of March. This was released to celebrate International Women's Day on the 8th of March, would you believe? So this was the first box set. That got a second box set called Protectors of Time. And then this year, 2023, it got a third release called Strange Chemistry. So without further ado, let's get on into what is on the extra shelf. So we're going to kick things off with the Unbound range. So as I mentioned last time, this is basically Doctor Who meets Marvel's What If, like lots of alternate universes and stuff. And this range, by the way, is quality, especially this first run of stories that occurred in the early 2000s. So we have Old Mortality, Sympathy for the Devil, Full Fathom 5, He Jests at Scars, a really excellent story, Deadline, Exile, Storm of Angels, and Masters of War. The next thing we have today is the Dalek Empire series, a series focusing on, well, the Dalek Empire. So Series 1 contains 4 stories, so we have Invasion of the Daleks, The Human Factor, Death to the Daleks, and Project Infinity. Series 2 is just labelled Into Different Chapters, so it's Dalek Empire's Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. Series 3 expands to 6 titles, so we have The Exterminators, The Healers, The Survivors, The Demons, The Warriors, and The Future. And then Series 4 back down to 4 titles. This was labelled as The Fearless, so it's just The Fearless parts 1 to 4. And a sort of a nice addendum to Dalek Empire, we have the I, Davros series. Now, these were really cool, again, focusing on Davros as portrayed by Terry Malloy. If you like this character in the TV show, you'll love this audio series, trust me. So, Part 1 is Innocence, Part 2 is Purity, Part 3 is Corruption, and Part 4 is Guilt. And again, I couldn't recommend this series highly enough. We then have the stage play adaptations. So we have The Ultimate Adventure, which of course hit the stage in 1989. This is the audio adaptation of it, of course. We have The Seven Keys to Doomsday, which premiered on the stage in 1974 and sees Trevor Martin reprise his role as the Doctor here. And we have The Curse of the Daleks, which hit the stage all the way back in 1965. And all are a very interesting listen to give a go on audio. I also have this is Cyberman, the complete series 1 and 2. This was a really interesting series. I remember getting series 1 of this as a kid. It was one of my first Big Finish things, actually, and I don't think I really understood it, but as an adult, these 2 series are actually really strong, sort of showing the Cybermen gradually taking over and like the impact they have. So yeah, recommend this. Then we move on to the Companion Chronicles, a series where they're short stories focusing on the various companions. So we have Series 1, which contains Frostfire, Fear of the Daleks, the Bluetooth, and the Beautiful People. Series 2 is Mother Russia, Helicon Prime, Old Soldiers, and the Catalyst. Series 3 expands to a whopping 12 different titles. So we have Here There Be Monsters, The Great Space Elevator, The Doll of Death, Empathy Games, Home Truths, The Darkening Eye, The Transit of Venus, The Prisoner's Dilemma, Resistance, The Magician's Oath, The Mahogany Murders, and Stealers from Safe, or Safe, something like that. Then we have Series 4, which again is 12 titles. So we have The Drowned World, The Glorious Revolution, The Prisoner of Peladon, The Pyralis Effect, Ringpool World, Beneath Summerfield and the Criminal Code, The Suffering, The Emperor of Eternity, Shadow of the Past, The Time Vampire, Night's Black Agents, and Solitaire. Moving on to Series 5, again 12 titles. So we have The Guardian of the Solar System, Echoes of Grey, Find and Replace, The Invasion of E-Space, A Town Called Fortune, Quinnis, Perry and the Piscon Paradox, which is touted to be one of the best, The Perpetual Bond, The Forbidden Time, The Sentinels of the New Dawn, Feral's Folly, and The Cold Equations. Thrown into the mix there, between Series 5 and 6, you had this, which was a special box set which contained 3 different stories, those being The Three Companions, The Mists of Time, and Freak Show. Series 6 is back to 12 releases, or maintains 12 releases, so we have Tales from the Vault, The Rocket Men, The Memory Cheats, The Many Deaths of Joe Grant, The First Wave, Beyond the Ultimate Adventure, The Anachronauts, The Salatian Gambit, Binary, The Wanderer, The Jigsaw War, and The Rings of Ikeria. Then moving on to Series 7, so we're still on 12 releases. We have The Time Museum, The Uncertainty People, Project Nirvana, The Last Post, Return of the Rocket Men, The Child, The Flames of Cadiz, House of Cards, The Scorchies, The Library of Alexandria, The Apocalypse Mirror, and Council of War. And then Series 8, which is the last series to feature 12 releases as part of it. So we have Mastermind, The Alchemists, Upstairs, Ghost in the Machine, The Beginning, The Dying Light, Luna Romana, The Sleeping City, Starborn, The War to End All Wars, The Elixir of Doom, and Second Chances. Then they went into the box set format, as a lot of Big Finish ranges did. So here is, well, the unofficial Series 9, which is the First Doctor Volume 1. And of course, I have the First Doctor Volume 2 as well to back that up. And we also have the First Doctor Volume 3, all of which contain 4 stories. The Second Doctor also got the box sets in the Companion Chronicles range. So we have the Second Doctor Volume 1, the Second Doctor Volume 2, and the Second Doctor Volume 3. And again, all of these contain 4 individual stories. So the Lost Stories, so this obviously is a series which adapts either scripts that were written and abandoned or partially finished scripts for the TV show and adapts them into audio form. So we have, this is Series 1, which focuses solely on the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, in what would have been his original second series. So we have The Nightmare Fair, Mission to Magnus, Leviathan, The Hollows of Time, Paradise 5, Point of Entry, The Song of Megaptera, and The Macross. Series 2 basically mainly comprises with the 7th Doctor in what would have been his 4th season, season 27, but there are some box sets involved in there as well. So you have this, the 1st Doctor box set here, then the 2nd Doctor box set as well. We also then, for the 7th Doctor, we have Thin Ice, Crime of the Century, Animal, and Earth Aid. There's also this box set for the 4th Doctor, which is sort of released between Series 2 and 3 of Lost Adventures. Series 3 of The Lost Adventures itself has a mix of Doctors here. So we have The Elite, Hexagora, and The Children of Seth, which all those 3 stories feature the 5th Doctor. We then have The Guardians of Prophecy, Power Play, and The First Sontarans, which all feature the 6th Doctor. Then to finish, we had The Masters of Luxor, which is a 1st Doctor story, and The Rose Mariners, which is a 2nd Doctor story. Series 4 drops to just 4 releases, but we have The Dark Planet with the 1st Doctor, The Queen of Time, and Lords of the Red Planet, which are 2nd Doctor stories, and we have The Mega, which is a story with the 3rd Doctor. Series 5 is where they drop down to just 2 releases for a little bit, so we have Nightmare Country and The Ultimate Evil. Series 6 is Return of the Cybermen and The Doomsday Contract. Then we have a special one which was released in 2022, Mind of the Hodiak. This was a script written by Russell T Davies back in the 80s when he was a young fan or just starting to get into television, so nice that we have an audio adaptation of that. And then to round things off, we have the Early Adventures, which are stories focusing on original stories with the first and second Doctors. And most of these, I haven't listened to them all, but some of these I've listened to are fantastic. Highly, highly recommend this range. So, Series 1 is Domain of the Vord, The Doctor's Tale, The Bounty of Ceres, and An Ordinary Life. An Ordinary Life is a phenomenal story, by the way, and these are all First Doctor stories. Series 2 focuses on the Second Doctor, so we have The Yes Men, The Forsaken, The Black Hole, and the ISOS Network. Series 3 jumps back to the First Doctor, so we have the Age of Endurance, the Fifth Traveller, the Ravelli Conspiracy, and the Sontarans. Series 4 jumps to the Second Doctor, you see how this is working, so we have the Night Witches, the Outliers, the Morton Legacy, and the Wreck of the World. Series 5 is another First Doctor series, so we have the Dalek Occupation of Winter, An Ideal World, Entanglement, and the Crash of the UK 201. Series 6 is the first time they dropped down to just 2 releases, one with each Doctor in this case, so we have The Home Guard and Daughter of the Gods, which is excellent. And then Series 7 is another 2-story series, so we have After the Daleks and The Secrets of Det Sen, which are both First Doctor stories. And just to close off, these aren't on the shelf, but I did say I'd touch on these. So we have some limited edition box sets. So these were released in limited quantities, often in these lovely tall boxes. And not only do they contain their stories, but they're often jam-packed with extra goodies as well. So we have this one, The Sixth Doctor, The Last Adventure, aiming to provide a proper ending and regeneration for the Sixth Doctor compared to what we actually got on screen. So that's a big recommend if you're a Colin Baker fan, absolutely. Then we have the 10th Doctor Adventures. Some of you thought I might have been missing them in the last video, but no, I have them in their limited edition form. So we have Series 1, which comprises of the stories Technophobia, Time Reaver, and Death and the Queen, and all of these feature the 10th Doctor and Donna Noble. Series 2 is the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler, so we have Infamy of the Zaros, The Sword of the Chevalier, and Cold Vengeance. And then Series 3 is the 10th Doctor back with Donna Noble as well, so we have No Place, 1 Mile Down, and The Creeping Death. Then we have these limited editions of the novel adaptations. So these are stories that were released in a standard form, but also came in these lovely limited edition sets. So Volume 1 has The Romance of Crime and the English Way of Death, and Volume 2 contains Damaged Goods and The Well-Mannered War. Then we have this, The Light at the End, which was the special story Big Finish put out for Doctor Who's 50th anniversary back in 2013. And as you can see on the front, it features Doctors 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, the Big Finish Doctors, if you will. And it is available as a standard CD, but it was also available as this lovely box set. And then for the last two, even taller boxes, we have this, The Legacy of Time. Now, I believe this was released to coincide with Big Finish's 20th anniversary with the Doctor Who license, so they got that in 1999. This came out in 2019. This is a gorgeous box, by the way. Just look at this. And this contains several stories within, and just look at that front cover. Look at all those characters. They're all in here somewhere, so that's well worth it if you ask me. And last but not least, we have Masterful, which was released to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Master's first appearance on our TV screens. And as you can see on there, you've got a litany of Masters. You've got Roger Delgado, Anthony Ainley, Derek Jacobi, John Sim, Michelle Gomez, Mark Gatiss, Alexander McQueen, Jeffrey Beavers, Eric Roberts. The list is endless. And that, folks, wraps up that shelf, the limited editions. That indeed wraps up my Big Finish collection. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this, just a look at the collection I've managed to amass over the last few years. I mean, getting into Big Finish has been a real joy for me. Obviously, I've had the very privileged position of working with them as well as an actor, which has been a dream come true, honestly. But just to be able to experience these stories as a listener with all the different Doctors, different companions, different characters, both already existing and the original ones as well, it's been a fantastic journey to experience some of the best Doctor Who media there is out there, quite frankly, and I only look forward to see what they come out with next and how this collection will continue to grow. But if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like on it. It really helps us out. And if you're new, please subscribe to us at AMTV Who. We'd love to have you here with us. Leave your comments down below what you think of the collection. And until the next one, I've been Adam Martin from AMTV Who, and I'll see you for our next trip in the TARDIS.